Welcome back to another Thursday. It's actually Friday morning, but on the Pagan Perspective, and I'm your Thursday host, Yeka. So this week we are talking about God the Father. Our question, or topic rather, comes from Rose Kicking, who writes, Merry Meet. The topic I'd like to suggest is the idea of God the Father. In paganism, I ask this because from what I've read and seen, there is very little told about the God's role as our Father, whereas Goddess as Mother is given heaps of focus and devotion to her. There's more focus on God and Goddess as Mother-Son, and then later as Bride Consort. Of course, I understand part of this is that the Mother Goddess deserves the reverence that has been forbidden or forgotten for centuries. So obviously, pagans wish to restore that. The other part is possibly due to the negative connotations the Father God has from Abrahamic religions as a stern, judgmental, almost abusive figure. So the focus with the God is more on his attributes as hunter, lover, etc., with the goddess being the primal, creative, nurturing force. However, at the end of the day, life needs both a mother and a father to be created, and the mother cannot give birth without the father. And we are no longer in ancient times where societies didn't value the role of the father in creation as much as the mother. Neither are all fathers the sole breadwinners who spend 10 minutes a day with the children before bed. These days, we have stay-at-home dads as well as same-sex parents, where there are two fathers, so the role of father is far more intimate and involved with nurturing life than in the past, or specific past. That's my adding in. Obvious bad fathers still exist, and I've met plenty of pagans with daddy issues that taint their perspective as a goddess parent, but the same can be said for mothers, yet we don't let that be the image of the great mother. So my question is, do you think the Father God has an important place in paganism? And do you think it's possible to see him in the more positive, nurturing aspects of fatherhood, rather than just being the distant consort to the mother or the oppressive father of Christianity? So first off, Rose, I think this is an awesome topic, and you covered so much of it that I don't know how much is left for me to cover in it. I really agree that I think a lot of the resistance towards the idea of celebrating the father may be coming from the unfortunate experiences that folks had either as Christians before becoming pagans, or simply from living in a society where patriarchy and the relationship with masculine has been a very strained and not so healthy relationship for a long time. I think that there's a lot of healing that as a whole society, not just pagans, but as the greater context within which we as pagans exist, there's a lot of healing that I think needs to happen around our relationship towards masculine, not just masculine, but feminine, and all of the different variances that those things could mean, and the in-betweens. Because as you kind of touched on a little bit, there's just talking about father, but to expand that to what one would think of as masculine roles, there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of diversity in what those things really are. So I can say that I think that there's a lot of healing that we need to do with that, and reevaluation in today's world for how does that work with who we want to be. In terms of what else in here, I mean, for me, obviously, as we've talked about before, I don't really do the deities or gods, so specifically looking at a god, a father god, doesn't really apply to my practice, but I do find the metaphors to be useful at to some extent, and again, to be seen as how we relate to those ideas as a culture, as a society. So yeah, I think that I really don't have a lot more to add from all of the excellent points that you made in the topic itself. So on that note, my baby's father and I will be taking some parental leave the next couple of weeks. So I think next week is subs week, but then the following month, August, I'm going to be taking off, and you will have the incredible and wonderful Cody, who will be filling in, and I for one really look forward to seeing his take on next week and next month's topics. And I will see all of you lovely folks in September, hopefully with a tiny squirming human being with me. So have a wonderful time until then. Let us know in the topics below if you have any thoughts or impressions about this week's topic. And until then, take care.